Space is now open for business. These were Peter Beck's last words before ringing the NASDAQ opening bell this morning under the ticker Rklb. Today I will speak on and discuss two missions that are high profile in the space industry. These two missions could not be done without the expertise of Rklb. I will go over the ESCAPADE mission and discuss the most recent update that was released regarding the ESCAPADE mission. Also, I will explain what the Loxsat mission is all about. So let's start with the ESCAPADE mission. The ESCAPADE Mars mission will consist of two identical satellites, dubbed Blue and Gold. This interplanetary mission is led by the University of California, Berkeley, and will put these two satellites into orbit around Mars, with a prepared launch time scheduled for October of 2024. ESCAPADE stands for Escape and Plasma Acceleration and Dynamics Explorers. This mission is the culmination of 2 years of intense work by scientists at UC Berkeley's Space Sciences Laboratory to show that relatively inexpensive spacecraft, the design, build, test, integration, and launch will cost less than $80 million and can be assembled in a short period of time to explore other planets. This is compared to less than $80 million cost. Typically, NASA planetary missions often require more than a decade of preparation and can exceed $1 billion in cost. So they drop the cost and they drop the time substantially. ESCAPADE mission leader and Space Sciences Laboratory Associate Director for Planetary Science and Astrobiology, Mr. Robert Lillis, is quoted saying, quote, "ESCAPADE and two other NASA missions recently approved our experiments to see whether advances in the space industry over the last 5 to 10 years can translate to a much better bang for the buck in terms of science per dollar. Sending two spacecraft to Mars for the total cost of under $80 million is just unheard of. But current NASA leadership is taking the risk." End quote. Rklb will supply two Photon spacecraft to house and support the instruments. The mission's goal is to collect data that could help reconstruct the climate history of Mars and determine how and when it lost its atmosphere, which was once dense enough to allow for running water, including rivers, lakes, and possibly oceans. ESCAPADE also will study the ionosphere of Mars, which can interfere with radio communications on the surface and between Earth and Mars colonists. Robert Lillis goes on to say, quote, "With simultaneous two-point observations of the solar wind and Mars' ionosphere and magnetosphere, ESCAPADE will bring us the first stereo picture of this highly dynamic plasma environment." End quote. Shannon Curry, who is project scientist for the mission at UC Berkeley, is also quoted saying, quote, "This constellation of two satellites at Mars will answer big questions about the atmosphere and the solar wind in real time." End quote. NASA evaluated the mission's preliminary design and project plan and determined last week that both UC Berkeley and Rklb had met all milestones, called key decision points, necessary to prepare for launch. The next steps include the final design of the mission and building the instruments. Peter Beck, Rklb's CEO and founder, is quoted saying, quote, "ESCAPADE is an innovative mission that demonstrates that advanced interplanetary science is now within reach for a fraction of traditional costs, and we're proud to make it possible with Photon. Passing the key decision point is a critical milestone in ESCAPADE's development and is testament to the world-class science and engineering work of the UC Berkeley and Rklb teams. We are delighted to receive the green light from NASA to proceed to flight." End quote. Each of the 2 satellites, blue and gold, are named after UC Berkeley's school colors, and they will carry instruments built at Space Sciences Laboratory to measure the flow of high-energy electrons and ionized oxygen and carbon dioxide molecules escaping from Mars. Magnetic field detectors built at UCLA, and a probe to measure slower or thermal ions built at Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University in Daytona Beach, Florida. Over the course of the mission, the 2 satellites will change positions to map the upper atmosphere and magnetosphere of nearly the entire planet from an altitude of between 150 and 10,000 kilometers. Since it is possible to measure conditions simultaneously at 2 places around the planet, this will allow scientists to connect plasma conditions at one site to the escaping ion flux at another. Originally, the ESCAPADE mission was planned to launch in August 2022, but that opportunity evaporated when the launch vehicle was changed. As a result, while the instruments remain unchanged, they have to be reconfigured to fit the Photon platform. The trip to Mars will take about 11 months. In early 2026, the first data should be received. We know they have their hands full with that mission. That's an exciting mission. Now let's just jump right into the Loxsat. Now we're on to NASA's Loxsat Cryogenic Fluid Management Mission. Most recently, yesterday, August 24th of 2021, Voyager Space announced its subsidiary, Altius Space Machines, was recently selected by ETA Space to provide a cryogenic coupler for liquid oxygen transfer in support of its planned 9-month Loxsat Cryogenic Fluid Management Mission. ETA Space was selected by NASA to execute a flight demonstration of a complete cryogenic oxygen fluid management system. The system will fly as a dedicated payload on a Rklb Electron launch vehicle and will collect critical cryogenic storage and transfer data in orbit for 9 months. During this mission, Altius will demonstrate on-orbit docking and cryogenic refueling operations using a cryogenic fluid transfer disconnect and latching mechanism developed for depot applications. The system will demonstrate repeated mating/demating and the transfer of liquid oxygen. So in short, they're going to be creating fueling stations in orbit. Excellent news, extremely innovative. Something we definitely need in order to get from one planet to another. You could just refuel at these fueling stations. Just all around exciting stuff. So we know Rklb on their first day trading under the ticker Rklb has gone down. It was down, I think, at the most like 14-15%. But this is a long-term hold for me and for anybody who's wise. Rklb has the experience and the credibility. They have their Love It First Insight mission coming up within the next, I believe, within the next 2 weeks. It'll happen. I'm thinking within the next week we'll hear about a launch date. There's many exciting missions coming up. We have the WISA-WOODSAT mission. We have Capstone mission, and just missions after missions. So if you're feeling some type of way about Rklb, please look into all the missions they're contracted for. And I think your conviction levels will grow on Rklb once you hear just about what they have coming up for them next. So for that, I think we'll end it. Meet Jeremy's extremely blessed. If you guys liked the video, hit that thumbs up and subscribe to Meet Jeremy for exciting updates. I try to keep them real quick, real fresh, on a wide range of companies. So for that, you guys have a great day, and we'll see you next time. Thank you, and God bless.